for me.
Look, tell me now, baby, you the one. All the girls in my past, they will all run. When a nigga sentimental, when he stack funds, big pun, fucking with players, I guess I'm no fun. And I don't get it, I don't understand. I'm just tryna be the boss, wanna be the man. And I always keep it real, I don't need friends. So if you really wanna go, this can all end. What's good, y'all? Thank y'all for tuning in to Keep It a Benji. You feel me? If you like that song right there, you know what I mean? It's gonna come out on this tape called Beauty and the Benji. That should be out probably by, it's gonna be out like September. I'm still dropping something else. Something dropping out. Should be coming out soon too. You feel me? I get all the details on a different date. But anyway, welcome to Keep It a Benji. You know what I mean? Today we are talking about relationships. And I ain't gonna lie, today, in this day and age, we fucked up right now when it comes to the dating market. You know the old saying, men ain't shit, or the be gone thought meme. You know the fuck I'm talking about. There's like a war going on that is like just halting any potential sparks, you know what I mean, vibes to be released into this atmosphere, you know what I mean. In my opinion, we doing this relationship thing backwards. Most of us try to find a partner to complete us. Hell, if we being transparent, which is what we do here on Keep It a Benji, I'm not looking for someone to complete me. Rather, I want this woman to finish me over and over again, you feel me, until I'm down for the count. Like, but as I was saying, you know what I mean, just to be real with you, we disregard the most important relationship, you know what I mean, in which there are 3 relationships to every single one relationship. The relationship to our partner, the relationship we share together, and the relationship to ourselves, which is the most important one. Now, think about it like this. You're a woman, you're a man attempting to date when you are still emotionally unavailable or mentally damaged from your past, you know what I mean? And you holding resentment towards whoever hurt you, creating this uncertainty with yourself and whoever your partner is at this moment. You know, sometimes it's not even a past relationship. Maybe it's like a past issue. Maybe you've been abused, exposed to something vile at a young age. You know what I mean? Have a bad relationship with your parents. I'm not speaking from my personal experience or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Not for real. But as we grow older, these past issues, they go unresolved, which develop into traumas which we all have. And most of us, we don't really actively work through those. You know what I mean? We have to have successful relationships. Problem is, nobody wants to do that. Like, Benji, are you telling me that I have to go through my pains and my traumas and speak them out into existence? You know what I mean? I can't just throw all my issues onto my partner and hope for them to fix it. You know? I have to relive them, all my pain, all my hurt. I can't just smoke. I can't just watch porn, play games, drink, have sex. I can't just do that. I can't just throw them away. Yeah. Nah, see, I'd rather just push them shits to the side, you know what I mean, go into something that I'm not ready for. You know what I mean? I'll find somebody to resolve all this pain and hurt that I have for me. They'll fix it. See how stupid as fuck that shit sound? But that's what the majority of us are really doing. We really doing that shit. Now, I'm about to give y'all an actual factual. You know, there are 7 billion people on this planet. Yet only 2% of the population are really actively going through their much needed mental work. Meaning, like I stated earlier, nigga, we hurting, we damaged, we are broken, and we not really going through anything. You know what I mean? We're not really telling each other that we're hurt or we're in pain. Now, if you are disregarding your pain and your hurt but actively pursuing relationships or just bodies, friends with benefits, how can you be involved in an actual healthy relationship? Or maybe you use a person's intimacy to hide your pain and hurt. Think about what humans do. You know what I mean? Think about
what happens when you get involved intimate with somebody and you're not fully healed, but they walk away. You know what I mean? You built this connection with somebody, this most likely sexual only connection. But then you gain feelings because that's what happens when you have sexual, quote unquote, chemistry. This person leaves and now you in heartbreak, anxiety, depression, all this shit that you push down just regurgitates back up on you. And I'm not saying we have to be perfect upon entering a relationship, but if we are not working on ourselves, managing our traumas with true introspection, being self-aware with our pain, it's not going to pan out, Salam. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to work out for you. So what can we do, though? What can we do to obtain healthy relationships with one another? In my opinion, first we have to be truly in tune with ourselves. I know how that sounds. Fucking spirituality. Shut up, bitch. Yes, you have to be in tune with yourself, bro. You have to understand yourself to a higher level than anybody else can ever, because you can't lie to yourself. You know what I mean? You know what happened to you. Nobody else know what happened to you unless you tell them. Knowing our strengths, our flaws, our values, our pain, how we like to be loved. Knowing ourselves on a deep level allows us to remain true to who we are. And when you are true to who you are, you can't be changed by anybody. In relationships, we may not even notice, but we fail to meet our partners where we at or where we are. Attempting to change our partner to muffle over insecurities so that we can just feel safe. A man or woman has trust issues due to past situations. They need your phone, password, location. You can't be friends with the opposite sex. My advice right now, leave that person. Leave that person where they at. Because anybody who lets their past dictate their present will inevitably damage you and themselves. And don't let nobody drag you down with them. Being in tune with yourself is not about knowing who you are, but being able to fully express that to whoever wants to know in a healthy manner. You have trust issues, cool. Let that be known to whoever you are interested in. Explain why these issues remain and assure them that you are working on it. And actually do that work. Don't just say that you're doing it. This level of transparency, it eases both parties, allowing both to work together to, reach common ground. Transparency and definition is just being able to see through somebody. In this case, regarding relationships, it's so important to be transparent to sustain a healthy relationship. Every human on this earth desires two things, in my opinion, and that is to be seen and to be heard for who they truly are. Someone's mind, the way they think, being fully accepted and understood on a deep level. Everybody desires that. The importance of this feeling cannot be explained. The one who knows me on a deeper level, the ones I know on a deeper level, and the fact that they trust me enough to be transparent and authentic with me, that's a feeling that you really can't explain until you have that. And I know you see the cover of this episode. I know you see the toxic shit right there. You know them too. Jonathan Jamal Porter and Christiane Riak, them motherfuckers. Those are our role models right now. That is what a toxic relationship looks like. And if you don't know what a toxic quote unquote relationship is, A toxic relationship to me is where one or both parties seeks control to use somebody for their own personal gain. You may be in a toxic relationship, but like, how would you know? What are the signs for it? If somebody is constantly, if someone lies to you constantly, someone who can't commit to their truth or won't commit to honesty, maybe in a toxic relationship. Someone who is probably the jealous type. You know, like I said earlier about the trust issue shit. So they all on your case all the time. They fucking with you all the time. They question your sincerity, your authenticity, creating a constant state of mistrust. Now speaking from first-hand fuckery, I've dealt with this jealous type. Would call me all the time. Couldn't talk to any other woman, even in a friendly manner. And I'm a quiet nigga, but I'm a friendly nigga if you have a conversation with me. So that was a problem for her. And I stayed in this because I had the toxic trait of trying to save somebody. What that nigga J. Cole said? You don't wanna be said, oh say I. Like, I was one of those niggas, Captain Save a Shorty, you feel me? And me trying to change my partner for the quote unquote better, in my eyes, only led to my own frustration and it increased my thoughts of, self doubt, of unworthiness. I was in a toxic relationship. A woman's been hurt, and I try to show her truly how a man can love. And I'm the type to give all of me. If you're that type, you know that when your partner distance themselves, you question yourself. And that right there is not a healthy relationship. Healthy relationships aren't about control because no human can be controlled. Relationships they are erratic, they are ever changing, they require patience and adaptability. So how do we build healthy, stable relationships? In my eyes, we have to be curious, we have to communicate, we have to be vulnerable, and we have to be open to alter our perception of what love is. Curiosity. You know the term curiosity killed the cat? In my mind, curiosity clears my conscience. Become interested with your partner, and most importantly, yourself. I'm not saying become this self-indulgent piece of shit. I mean commit to intensive introspection. Learn your pain, learn your trauma, but never throw that at somebody unless they become curious themselves. Ask the questions that might scare somebody away. Now, what do you value in life? What is your love language? Do you ever see yourself having kids? Now I've learned that over time that when using these questions, you gotta add some fun into the mix. You know what I mean? You gotta break the ice, you gotta break tension, make conversation, making it easier to just coast through. You know what I mean? But even in small talk, throwing in deep little questions like that, not wide questions, thinking deep, that can lead to a deeper conversation. And when you do ask these questions, actively listen to somebody. We have to be better at that. Remember when I said we all love to be seen and heard? In conversation, if you are listening to reply, you are doing it wrong. Listen to understand. Mirroring somebody's words are a great way to make somebody feel like they're being heard. And I'm guilty of this in conversation. You may hear me make a sound like I just had the most delectable sandwich in the world. Yeah, that's just me processing for real, for real. And I probably just end up repeating what you said at the end, and then repeating your whole sentiment, it's the whole statement, and going, putting my own words on it, showing that I was actively listening to you, that I hear you, that I understand you. And I need to preface this because being curious, asking deep questions will make someone run away. It might. And by all means, let them. I'm gonna picture this. Picture this scenario right here. You and the person y'all meet, instant chemistry, which is a red flag right there. But you go on a few dates, the vibes are all good, sparks or some other bullshit. Um, y'all fucking. Now y'all dating, and certain inconveniences pop up. Maybe they are rude to strangers. They are not everything they said they were. They become possessive, maybe even physical. Now what? Let's say y'all spent 9 months with each other, in this spark phase, and now you see yourself in a toxic relationship. Do you leave? Probably not. You probably try to change them. And why? Because this world is not meant to be walked alone. For real, it's meant to be walked in pairs. So when we find any slice of connection, we fear the thought of being alone. We make this superficial, vibe centric, sexual chemistry form of connection, and that shit don't last because your values don't really align with each other. You know what I mean? Y'all, maybe I'm at the gym. You know what I mean? So y'all have the same goal of being fit, but y'all values not in the same alignment. She think this way, you think this way, he think this way, you think this way. Ask the questions that are important to you and ask them to yourself and ask them to your partner, and remain curious and be open to somebody else's perspective. And I think that's how we build healthy relationships. I also think I'm gonna lump communication and vulnerability together. Given that I touched on these topics before, check my other episodes, by the way. um, anyway, communication, especially healthy communication, helps two parties connect quickly. Vulnerability, which in definition is just the ability to be hurt emotionally and mentally. Nobody wants to be hurt or feel like a hopeless puppy, a hopeless puppy. That's not what I meant, when I say be vulnerable through conversation, though. What I'm asking you to consider is to not shy away from something that may be hard to talk about. For example, which I have plenty of vulnerable conversations, but I'll just give you two. You know what I mean? Yesterday, for example, I had a conversation with a woman at work. I asked her, when was the last time you were truly happy? And she had told me it was recent because her mother came down to visit, which was important to her because she physically doesn't see her mother often, right? Me asking this spiraled into us speaking about family relationships with our fathers, which in her case, she didn't feel comfortable speaking about, which I understood and I pushed back, but I allowed myself to speak about my father, right? Which allowed her to ask questions about my side, my side of the family, my father, right? And somehow we got to the topic of childhood dumb shit, like sending nudes, Kick, Snapchat, etc. But in general, like me asking a question that piques interest, but it's also introspective, right? Led to a deeper conversation, but it also led to a fun, deep conversation Because you can make vulnerability and communication fun, but it takes to being open and willing to share things that we usually wouldn't talk about. And that's a balance that I'm still trying to work on. You know what I mean? I'm still trying to work on that balance of being very sincere and being very introspective when it comes to questions, but also allowing fun to persevere. You know what I mean? Being able to back off, being able to be more subtle. Still working on that. But I also had this conversation with not the same conversation, but I had a different conversation with my brother, right? Um, we were speaking about why we are the way we are. You know what I mean? Why we are men who seek betterment. Why we are men who want to help other people. And he had mentioned a childhood experience that I also related to. And being vague out of respect to him, um, I related to his experience on a very deep level. You know, he shared something with me that allowed me to be comfortable to express something to him that I had held in for probably 10 plus years. And obviously conversations like that, they build up. You know, they're built up over time. They don't just happen out of nowhere. But if we never even talked about certain shit like that, our bond wouldn't be as tight as it is. Communication and vulnerability, you know what I mean? You have to be able to not fear that somebody's gonna have a different viewpoint of you because you say something that you may not be comfortable with saying. Because you had to be comfortable with you being able to express yourself, what you've been through, without the thought of somebody not liking you anymore. If they don't like you, fuck them. Communication and vulnerability, or in a healthy way, can create an everlasting unity. But you have to be able to take that leap. The last thing I will mention today, because I got shit to do, um, is our perception of love. Now, think about the first time you saw love. I would say for me, it was from my grandparents. You know, because I wasn't old enough to really. Yeah, I don't want to say I wasn't old enough. I saw the love from my grandparents, but I didn't see the love from my father and my mother. I didn't get that. I now know because I asked the questions. But think about the first time you saw love. You know, people, parents, TV, movies, social media. What was it to you? What did it look like? I feel like most of us, how we see love is always the best parts. You know what I mean? It's always the quote unquote Cinderella stories. It's the romantic comedy side. You know what I mean? You don't see the bullshit in between. You don't see the heartbreak. You don't see the tough conversations. You don't see the hurt. You just see hey, sparks fly. Yeah, vibe check. Ooh, we fucking now. I'm gonna throw you on the wall. Don't look good. That shit fabrication, bro. That ain't real. The thing is, a lot of us don't really know that because we see it all the time, so we just expect that. We have an expectation on what love is, and a lot of us are not really doing the research on what love is supposed to be, nor do we know how to love or how we want to be loved. I mean, you got social media, you know what I mean? You got shit like Christian and Blueface, and you see the bullshit, you see the toxicity, the pain, right? And some people relate to that because maybe that's what they've been through their whole life. Maybe that's what they see on a daily basis. with their parents, with their relationship. You know what I mean? And that trickles down generations, and toxic love is quote unquote a norm to them. I've dealt with a woman who's who's been in toxic love for most of her life. I had to walk away, unfortunately. But it's just the way we love is the vision of it is not clear anymore. In my eyes, no, in my eyes, to me, love is even like I don't even know, because to me, like how I show love is just me being authentic to myself, so that I can be authentic to everybody else. I don't shy away from me. You know, I say what I feel. I try to be there, present. I think we use the word love too sparingly. You know what I mean? You know, we say we love this. Oh, I love ice cream. I love weed. No, I love pussy. But the way we saying love is not truly how it should be used. We desensitize the word love. We have to really define what our love is. We can't bullshit that word anymore, because it's a powerful word. You can like somebody. You can like weed. You can like ice cream. But love is deep. I only said I love you to a few people in my life, and now and those are the people that I have true connections with. You know what I mean? Never have I ever said I love a shorty ever, because I never got to that point yet. And I think it'll take a long ass time for me to get to that point. When it comes when I find that true connection, then I'll be able to say it. But like when it comes to my friends, my mother, my family, I can say I love you and they know I mean it, and I know I mean it. I had told my brother that I met about a year and a half ago that I loved him, and he said the same shit back. And I had called him back to be like, bro, I don't say that shit often. So when I say that, I truly mean it. And he was like, yeah, my nigga, I know. I'm the same way. You know what I mean? That's how we build a connection, like, in a year and a half, like, really quickly. Because we the same type of nigga, just real niggas. I got off on a little tangent right there. I really love this shit. Speaking about things like that, but another problem we have, and when it comes to relationships today, is the paradox of choice. And when I say the paradox of choice, I mean that the mindset that we have multiple options at all times. And in theory, we do, but not really. You know what I mean? We have social media, Tinder, dating apps, you know, Bumble, shit like that, and we just swipe away, just boom, 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 like we have all the options in the world, and there's always something better. And the thing is, love is a choice. You know, you can you choose to love somebody, because you can be with somebody and just be there for the intimacy, just be there for the vibe, just be there for the conversation, whatever. But when you truly choose to love somebody, it hurts. It takes time. I mean, it takes hardship. And I think in this fast generation, and I don't mean fast sexually, even though we are, I mean just we want it now type generation. It's just we in a bad state when it comes to relationships. And by no means am I trying to speak down on us. I'm just trying to bring awareness to it. Because I value, you know what I mean, health, mentally, physically, emotionally, and I want the people to hear this who also value that to take something away from it, or the people who don't know anything about this to hear it and maybe implement it into their lives. Anyway, that has been today's episode of Keep It a Benji, and hopefully y'all love this episode. Hopefully y'all share it, like it, whatever. You know what I mean? If y'all don't, also cool. But hopefully you got something out of today's episode. Hopefully y'all staying prayed up. Y'all staying blessed. Peace.